Hello, family. How are you? This is Dr. Kia Pruitt. It is Thursday, one of my favorite days of the week, July 21st, 2022, and the time is 2:20 p.m. By now, you may have heard it, but just in case you haven't, I have some breaking news. You know, that's my specialty. I love to bring some breaking news that everybody hasn't heard yet. But just in case you haven't heard, honey, number 46 has come down with the C word. Now, that's really interesting considering that some of us know that coming down with the C when it comes to dealing with people in power is code word for they've been taken to the clank clink or they've been done away with. But he had the cure and even the follow-ups to the cure and still came up with the C. Well, let me tell you what he says. According to his press secretary, he's okay. He only has mild symptoms. He's been isolated in the big house, but he's still performing his duties and he's in constant communication with his staff, but everything should be okay. Don't you worry about it. Never mind that this is just coming off the heels of his son's recovered text. His recovered text to his girlfriend named Haley, who is also his brother's ex-wife, 46's son, dating his brother's ex-wife. That's interesting. But anyway, shall I read you that text that was recovered? Is that what you would like? Okay, and I'll put it in description, down in the description box, because you know me, I have to mind my words because they are really monitoring and censoring us. Here it goes. It was written on December 14, 2018 at 10:31 a.m., but recently recovered. You're right, Haley, number 46's son said, and I find myself because I've chosen to alienate all my friends and my family and employees and you and the kids, my kids, I find myself very alone and dealing with rebuilding an income that can support an enormous alimony and my kids' costs and myself, dealing with the aftermath of the abduction of my business partner, the richest man in the world, the arrest and conviction of my client, the chief of intelligence of the People's Republic of China by the U.S. government, the retaliation of the CCP in the ouster and arrest of the U.S. suspected operatives inside of the CCP, my suspected involvement in brokeraging a deal with the prime minister of the bear over there in Russia, my direct involvement for brokeraging a deal with the prime minister of Russia directly for the largest sale of oil, gas assets inside of Russia to China. A tax bill that Eric left hanging over my head and over my business. And of course, Dad's running for president. Now, isn't that interesting that number 46's son was involved in foreign affairs? Oh, no, can't be. Because remember, all of 45's administration, all we kept hearing is that he needs to be taken down. He needs to be ousted because he's been involved with the bear over there and he needs to learn his lesson. And here we come to find out that all along it was number 46 who was involved with the CCP and the vice prime minister of Russia. He and his son. So that makes me wonder, could that lead to the arrest of number 46's son? And could that lead to the impeachment of number 46? Is that why he came down with the you-know-what? Is that why he's in isolation at the big house and won't be out in the public? Well, you don't say. Just maybe it wasn't 45. Maybe it was 46 who had involvement with foreign entities. So you and I know that this is all code words. And we were told this long ago that when they came down with the you-know-what, the sickness, it was either a code for they've been taken to the clink clink or they've been annihilated, okay, or taken out. So this could be in alignment with the intel that I gave on June 29th, 2022, that SCOTUS had overturned 46's whole thing, his whole administration. And that was actually confirmed by, I think his name is Phil, I don't know if it's Phil Gillespie or something like that, but my military man that many of you follow actually came forward 2 weeks ago and said that he could confirm that that was true. So did SCOTUS overturn it? I don't know, but I can tell you that number 46 right now is ill. And this is all coming out on the heels of this recovered text, on the heels of the laptop information coming out and being disseminated into the public. Some of you saw people that were defectors from the CCP publish different things from number 46's son's laptop. They published some of the documents saying that he had some dealings with the CCP and some dealings with the bear over there in Russia. They published also some photos and videos of him participating in lewd activities and dealing in drugs. So that came out, I want to say, in 2020 and in 2021. But, a lot of people didn't want to hear it because they just wanted number 45 out. Now, I'm just coming to report that this is not even new news. Many of you who follow the Moors know, if you know the Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq el-Bey, you need to research him because he's been saying since 2013 that the Republic would be restored. He's been saying that the U.S. corporation would be taken down and that the Republic would be restored and that the army, the Grand Army of the Republic, would be the ones to take down the deep state and to run the country with another face in front of them. So how did he know that? I will tell you, my darlings, how he knew that because I also did my research. It is called motu proprio. So in motu proprio, which was a letter that the Pope sent to number 44, who was then the vice president, the letter said basically, and I mentioned that in my video yesterday, and I mentioned it in a video a couple months ago called motu proprio. Basically what the Pope said is, our time is up. So you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take the Moor's word for it or the Grand Sheikh. You don't have to take the military's word for it. You can research it yourself. The Pope wrote a letter to President Obama in 2013. And then he sent the follow-up letter in 2014. And basically what he said was the United States government is not a lawful legal entity. He said, whereas the United States of America is a country, the United States of America has been run by a corporation called the USA Incorporated. Yes, the Pope said this. He said, and they were under my authority. He said, but as of today, I'm telling everybody it's over. He said, President Obama is not the president of the country, but he is the president of a corporation called the USA Inc. He also said he is unlawful and illegal, and so is the United States Corporation. And he said, and so are all the officers who are operating underneath the guise of being the government. He named these people, and he said, you are to cease and desist immediately. He said that goes for the lawyers, judges, police officers that we know as policy enforcers, banksters, CEOs, and he named a list of people. He said, you are beholden to me and the bar or to the queen, and our time is up, so you must stop operating right now. He said the Grand Army of the Republic will assist in this takedown. And he even listed who the general of that army was. And he said they would be the ones who will run the country while the Republic is being restored. He said it also is important to note that the people that you all call African Americans and Black are the indigenous people on this planet and in this country. He said, you all need, I feel a preach word coming on, to acknowledge who these people are. And you need to do it immediately. Woo! And he said, and if you don't do it, you will be arrested and charged, because we have been operating fraudulently against these people, against the African Americans, against all Americans, and against all the people of the planet. Now, you don't have to believe me, people. I will post that letter so you can read it for yourself. Now, did Obama listen? No, he didn't. And did the officers listen? No, they didn't. Did the Queen listen? No, she didn't. Did the police officers listen? Did the judges or the lawyers, did anybody listen to what the Pope said? No, they didn't, because the deep state thought that they can continue on in their foolishness. They knew, they felt, they had an inkling that number 44, excuse me, would somehow usher in number 43's wife, HRC, but they never thought she would lose. But I'm here to tell you, my brothers and my sisters, she lost. And therefore, the Grand Army of the Republic came in to take down the deep state. And they ushered in number 45 to lead the charge as the commander-in-chief. You don't have to believe me. You can read it for yourself. Let me hold on. Let me take a deep breath. Let me get some water, because the preacher is thirsty and needs to quench her thirst. All right, now, so what did number 44 do? Watch the water. Number 44 did not listen. Now, you all know he was unlawful and illegal because he is not natural born to the United States of America. I keep trying to tell folk there's a difference between natural born and native born. See, native born means that you were physically born onto this continent, and that's okay. But natural born is not just about proximity, it's about allegiance. And in the Constitution of the United States of America, which governs us, it explicitly says, it clearly states that in order to be the president, in order to serve in this country, you have to be natural born, my friends. And natural born means that you have to be born on this land, and so do your parents. So since Obama's parents weren't natural born Americans at the time of his birth, he could not lawfully serve. And while I'm on that point, neither can your vice president. Now, I have a video explaining why she is illegal, unlawful, and illegitimate. You don't have to believe me. You can talk to a constitutional attorney, not just a regular attorney, my friends, not just somebody who has passed the bar, but you need to talk to a constitutional attorney. And that constitutional attorney will explain to you that it's about proximity. So when number 44, and when this current so-called president's VP were born on this continent, their parents, or at least one of their parents, actually had an allegiance to a foreign entity. Now, let me explain this. Let me break it down. Let me take my time. Come on, Evangelist Pruitt. Take your time. I wish I had a fan in here. I wish I had some help in here. So listen, when she was born on this continent, her father was from Jamaica. Her mother was from Asia. Her parents had her on this continent while they were in college, which makes her an anchor baby. Now, you can serve in the Senate and the Congress as an anchor baby, but my darlings, you may not serve as a VP or a president as an anchor baby, because it's all all about allegiance. It's all about who you are beholden to. And since her father was born and nationalized or a part of Jamaica, and since her mother was born of India and had an allegiance to Asia and perhaps the CCP, then my darlings, your vice president has an allegiance to her parents' country. She has an allegiance and is beholden to Jamaica and India, and by proxy, the CCP. If you don't believe me, research it for yourself. So it doesn't matter that 46 is ill. It doesn't matter that at 79 he might croak. It doesn't matter that he might be at the clink-clink or already gone. What matters is that she cannot serve even with him being off the planet because she's unlawful and illegal. Now let's get back to number 44. Why did he not do what the Pope said, Pope Francis, through motu proprio? Because he thought, and his people thought, and his cohorts thought that it didn't matter. They thought that she would win. They thought that we would all be ushered into FEMA camps. They thought that they would take us down and sell us out to the CCP. And this, my darlings, is why former press secretary under 45's administration said at the Governor's Council or conference on February the 8th, 2020, he said, I see you all, governors. I know who each and every one of you are. And remember, he used to be the director and chair of the, yes, Pompeo. So he knew everything. He was over intelligence. He said, I see you. I know you all, and you all have been graded. You all have a report card from the CCP stating how complicit you have been with China from A to F. I know who you are. You've sold out your states. You've sold out your colleges. You've sold out your medical practices. You've sold out the banks, the financial system. You've sold out education. You've sold out the American people. I know who each and every one of you are, and I am encouraging you today to stop because my eyes are on you and I know what's happening. Did they listen? And he gave them plenty of time. This was February 8th, 2020. Did they listen? Nope. They ushered in the you know what that had us closed in and locked in March the following month. Even though he said, I've seen you infiltrate every segment of this society and I know what you're doing, do the right thing. Pompeo said this and they did not. They never thought their time would come. So under number 44, he had the opportunity. Pope Francis told him it's over. He also had the opportunity to let people know who have been subjugated here, all Americans and explicitly African Americans, that they had a legitimate government before the government was usurped. And instead of acknowledging that the people needed to be free, and instead of acknowledging the so-called African Americans and saying you all are the indigenous people of this country, and instead of admitting that the United Nations had said that these people were the oldest indigenous people on the planet in the 1990s, instead of doing any of that, what number 44 did was immediately after that letter came out, he posed with a picture of him and HRC in front of the Moroccan flag. Because you see, there are two flags that were in the White House. The flag or banner of the United States of America Corporation with the gold trim around it, which means we were under maritime law. And a second flag, the flag of the Moroccan Empire. Who is the Moroccan Empire? I'm glad you asked. Research it. The Moroccan Empire were the people who actually had an empire that stemmed from all of the Americas, Canada, the Caribbean, and parts of Africa. It was one of the most expansive greatest empires of all history, and it was owned and operated and controlled by melanated brown people. And some of those people were actually here, a part of the Moroccan Empire in the United States of America. And that, my darlings, is why there's a Moroccan flag inside of the White House. And that is why President Obama and HRC took a picture in front of both flags, and explicitly the Moroccan flag, to let you know through coded messages who the indigenous people were, who's behind the Grand Army of the Republic, who helped to create the Constitution for the United States of America, the legitimate, lawful Constitution, and who will once again be put in their proper position. So, this is what the overturn of RVW was really about. It served two purposes: to get rid of that ruling that said it was okay to take out our children, but it was also coding. Remember what military intel said: watch the water. What was the name of that case? The RVW. The woman who was involved allegedly in that case, or who the case was involving, her name wasn't even ROE. I will put down her name in the description, but that was her nickname or her moniker, ROE. So now, you all may not know, but she said she was pregnant. She was gang raped by a bunch of melanated men. And because of it, she was ashamed. She was unemployable, and she needed to get rid of the evidence. Now, later on, she came forward and she said, I lied. She said, I was coerced and used by these people who wanted to do away with children. I was used by them and paid to lie. To lie. I never was pregnant. I never needed to get rid of the child. That was all a ploy. It was all a ploy by the deep state. It was all a ploy by the mainstream media, and people bought into it. She admitted it. Look it up. Here. Why did they name the case R, like rowing your boat, versus Wade? Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Now, allegedly, the Attorney General's name was Wade. And allegedly, that moniker was chosen for her, but her name is nowhere near ROE. But what I'm submitting to you today, that the overturn of that case was signifying or acknowledging that we are moving away from maritime admiralty law into constitutional law. We're moving away from the law of the waters, maritime law, the law of the sea, banks, judges, wading in the water, all these things that refer to water. We're moving away from the law of the water onto the law or into the law of the land. From the law of the water being overturned, restoring and returning to the law of the land, which is the Constitution. That is the lawful law of the land. So that, my darlings, is the coding. That, my darlings, is the secret. It's something that they're letting us know that their time is up and that our time has come to have our great republic restored, to have our natural government restored, and to have the takedown of the deep state. And what that means for you and me is that we will once again be considered sovereign. Sovereign means to have reign over your life. Reign, over, reign, control, rule over your life. We are now considered sovereign. Our sovereignty, prosperity, and peace are being ushered in as we speak, and we can see these things going on behind us. We can see these things revving up in our faces. We see the market crashing. We see the stock market having ebbs and flows, and we know it's about to crash. We see the housing market crashing. We see construction being halted because of the stopping and the problems and the interruption of the supply chain. We see that interest rates are sky high. We see inflation going out the roof. We see countries leaving the USD. We see Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Iraq, Iran, and all these other countries joining the BRICS nation. Why do we see this, Dr. Pruitt? We see this happening right before our eyes because the Creator wants us to know that it's over. The Creator wants to restore your joy. The Creator wants to restore your hope. The Creator wants to restore your inspiration. The Creator wants to restore your sovereignty. The Creator wants to restore your happiness. The Creator desires to usher back in your peace. Family, this is the time that we've all been waiting for. So be encouraged, be hopeful, and know that our time has come. Raise your vibrations. Get excited. Don't just believe it, know it. Because when you know it and you raise your vibrations, then the Creator and all the angels and all those people, the Galactic Federation and the people working behind the scenes, they will use that energy to help usher in the golden era. They will help usher in that time when we will have ascended consciousness. They will usher in this time of planetary peace. And that, my darlings, is what we came here to experience. And we all agreed before we were birthed into this reality to come here, to witness it, and to help in the liberation of humanity. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt, and once again, I have brought you the breaking news, and I hope I have served to lift your vibrations, lift your spirits, and usher in an exciting, exhilarating era. I love you. Make this an amazing day. Goodbye. Mwah.